And in starting, I definitely need to congratulate my honourable friend and next-door neighbour, the member for Totnes, on securing this debate, and my colleagues on the Backbench Business Committee for agreeing it. It's very apt to be celebrating the 200th anniversary of the RNLI, given the role they play in the communities for South Devon. As has already been mentioned, the Torbay RNLI has been operating since 1866, serving both commercial merchantman traffic and keeping holidaymakers and those visiting the South Coast safe. And it's been really an organisation that's been very much at the heart of the community since then. As touched on, it is based on volunteers and it is based on the community funding and supporting it. And it's easy to see why the RNLI is such a loved institution when you look at some of the stories of heroism of its members. And in Torbay, we actually have Keith Bauer, who I think is one of only 3 living holders of the gold medal for conspicuous gallantry. You know, the speech has already referred to those crews who sadly have lost their lives, but there's many occasions when volunteers will have absolutely pushed to the limits what they could do to try and save someone in distress. And it's right that we pay tribute and remember them. And it was great to see Keith at the heart of the recent service of Thanksgiving at Westminster, having recognition of the role so many play in extreme conditions to try and save the lives of others, people they will probably never have met before, and going out of their way to bring them home safe to them and for them and their families. And it is worth noting how the team that we see at the front, and myself and the member for Totnes have an interesting debate about the Torbay RNLI, because the station is on the land in Brixham, part of his constituency, and the boat is moored up in the waters of Brixham Harbour, which, due to the anomalies of how Torbay runs its harbour authority, is part of mine. But we do see they're loved across the bay, and that's why seeing the event on the 4th of March, when the fleet was out, being saluted by so many people who attended on the land and also those on the waters who very much rely and are very much reassured by their constant presence. And it is worth noting that the Torbay Lifeboat fundraising team is the one that can help sustain the crew at the front. We had the song written by Roger Smith to commemorate and celebrate the 200th anniversary, but also the whole network that exists throughout the year at raising the funds that are absolutely vital to support the team that we see visibly out on the water. It's also worth noting how the RNLI actually supports the wider work of the community. We obviously innately will think of the emergency call-outs, you know, when someone's in distress and the lifeboat is called out to try and identify them and to try and bring them back to safety. But it's worth noting the range of other things that can happen. I always think it's a moment for reflection when I'm about to do the Boxing Day, walking to the sea at Paynton Sands, where you see the lifeboat pull up beforehand. It acts as effectively provides the safety boat. And, you know, obviously it's a slightly thought-provoking moment. You sit there thinking, is this the best decision I've ever made? I'm about to walk into freezing cold water with the lifeboat pulling up to keep safe. But it does show what the RNLI does for the wider community. It's not just about the emergency shouts, but it's also about an event like that clearly needs some safety support, and they provide it. We're allowing thousands of pounds to be raised for other charities and fundraising in the community, as well as an opportunity to get rather cold as well on a Boxing Day, if that will help shake off anything from the day before. And I'd also say it's worth mentioning that in the 200-year history of the RNLI, they've obviously also been supported by other institutions that contribute towards their effort and share their goals. And it's well worth mentioning the NCI Torbay by their station up at Daddy Hole Plain, who work closely with Torbay RNLI, both committed to exactly the same purpose of keeping safe those using the waters around our bay. So, Mr. Harris, this is an institution that has been well loved for 200 years and well supported for 200 years. It shows the best of our communities, and it makes sure our communities are safe even in the most perilous of conditions. They've had a successful 200 years in which they've gone from strength to strength, and I see no reason why they won't go to even further success and many, many thousands more lives saved over the next 200 years. Yeah.